Dear students, welcome to Tungal online classes. So in the last video we discussed thoroughly the functions of the plasma membrane as well as the cell wall. The structure of cell wall, how it is. So what are the major sections of the cell wall, right? All these are the things that we studied in the last video. And in this video we will start with the functions of a cell wall now itself. So cell wall also have many number of functions it does, and it is very helpful for the cells in case of plant cells, as well as it also helps for the entire plant body itself, right? So let us discuss the functions of a cell wall now. Cell wall is rigid and hard structure which surrounds the entire cell itself, so that it gives mechanical strength as well as mechanical support to the cell, as well as simultaneously entire plant body. This is the first function of the plant cell, right? Let us write it. The first function of plant cell. Plant cell wall is hard and rigid, which surround the cell wall, gives mechanical strength and support to cell as well as the entire plant bodies. Entire plant bodies is the first function of what? The plant cell wall, right? So, and what is the second function? See, it is hard and rigid, I said. Since it is hard and rigid, so it prevents the expansion of the cell. Right, there is a possibility of expansion of the cell in case of animal cell and rupturing of the cell membrane even, but here in case of plant cell wall, so the cell wall does not allow the expansion of the cell, right? So it prevents the expansion of cell since it is hard and rigid in nature, and it also helps in maintenance of turgidity. What is the turgidity? So when the cell is completely filled with the fluid or the water, maximum water, the condition is said to be a turgid nature of the cell, right? So and since it maintains the turgidity, it also gives erect posture to the entire plant body or the entire parts of the plant body, right? So since the leaf is very erect in nature, since all the cells are turgid in nature, right? So this is another function of the plant cell. Now write the cell wall is hard and rigid. It prevents the expansion of cell and provides the rigid nature to cell, and simultaneously turgid nature helps the plant parts to be as erect in nature. So erect in nature. This is the second function of the plant cell wall itself. And what is the third function of So very important one. So since this is porous in nature, it allows, it has some of the intercellular connections, and those intercellular connections are called as plasmodesmata. Through the plasmodesmata, it helps in exchange of the materials. Those materials may be water sometimes, or some of the organic salts are exchanged between the cells. So that's why cell wall helps for interconnection between the cells, right? So cell wall helps for interconnection between the cells, and it helps for exchange of the materials like water, minerals, as well as organic foods, right? So all these are exchanged between the cells through this cell wall itself, since it has plasmodesmata. So minerals and foods through plasmodesmata, right? So this is the important feature of a cell wall itself, right? And cell wall is also helping for the conduction of water as well as food material or long distance transportation in plants. How is it possible? As we know, so there are hexagonal compartments are seen by the first scientist, the one who discovered these cells in cork, slices of the cork. So Robert Hooke itself, right? He saw these ones. And these are nothing but cell walls. These are nothing but cell walls. Right? So these are vacant cells. Why? Because these are almost all dead cells. Say for example, xylem cells, tracheids, as well as tubes. They have dead cells. They are all dead cells, and through these dead cells, what happens over here? Here the conduction of water that take place. So that is long distance transportation of water as well as organic food material that takes place through the dead cells, which are surrounded with the cell wall itself. They have only cell wall, right? That is very important, right? Cell wall that surround the cells like xylem vessels, tracheids, as well as xylem vessels, tracheids, as well as sometimes in tubes also help in long distance transportation of water and the food material. So this is also one more function of what? One more function of the cell wall that surround the plant cells like xylem cells, right? Tracheids, right? That are present in respective plants, right? So this is also one more. And cell wall also help for epoplast pathway. Cell wall also help for apoplastic pathway, right? So that is nothing but the movement of the water that takes place during the absorption of water through through the roots. So the apoplastic pathway of the water, whenever you go through that moment, you will come to know the importance of this cell wall. See here, so there is a need of the diagram of dicot root or monocot root, whatever you may imagine yourself. There I will show apoplastic pathway of this water during absorption of water. Let us see in diagram. So see here, this is the epidermis, and some of the epidermal cells that makes some modifications, and that modified epidermal cell becomes what? So root hair. It becomes the root hair. You know this diagram. And below this one you will find the cortex part, that is mainly consisting of the parenchymal cells. See here, this is all parenchymal cells, right? Parenchymal cells. And below this one, endodermis you will come across. See here the endodermal cells that you come across. These are endodermal cells, right? And in the endodermal cells, you will find tetrad condition. You will find the tetrad condition. So you know the condition of xylem as well as phloem over here. So here you will come across protoxylem, and this is metaxylem, right? Like this, you will find 4 xylems over here, 4 phloems over here, right? These are phloems, these are protoxylem, and this is metaxylem. Metaxylem you will find over here. So all these are the structures very familiar to you, I hope. So let us discuss very shortly the absorption method of the water itself, right? See here, this is the root hair. Around the root hair, the water comes over here, and the water that enters into the root hair and comes to the epidermal cell, and through the epidermal cell, so there the cells are interconnected with the help of plasmodesmata. So these are all plasmodesmata what we come across over here, and so you will find this water that enters through the plasmodesmata and reaches the passage cell. This is the cell called as passage cell, right? This is the passage cell. Through the passage cell it enters into the protoxylem. This is one method or one pathway of the entry of water, so into the xylem through plasmodesmatas, intercellular connections called as plasmodesmatas. This is one pathway of the movement of water over here. But another pathway is also there. What is the another pathway? See here, through the cell walls. Through the cell walls or intercellular connections, intercellular spaces, the water enters into the xylem, right? So through cell wall, whatever the water that moves, so that pathway itself is said to be as apoplastic pathway, right? The cell wall takes the water and moves it to intercellular spaces, and later from one intercellular spaces to another intercellular spaces, the water moves through the cell wall itself, right? This method or this pathway itself is said to be as what apoplastic pathway, right? So this is also one more function of what? The plant cell wall, right? So next function is, yes, along with this one, it also helps for simplest pathway. What is simplest pathway? Already I have shown you in the diagram that water enters into the root hair. From the root hair it comes to the epidermal cell, and from the epidermal cell to the cortical cell or cortex cell through plasmodesmata. through the plasmodesmata, the movement of water that take place, that is nothing but one pathway of the movement of water over here. So and that water movement that take place between the cells through intercellular connections or the channels called as plasmodesmata, this pathway itself is called as symplast pathway. Means cell wall also help for cell wall also help for symplast pathway. Symplast pathway. And one more thing, in the same diagram you imagine yourself the endodermal cells are so uncovered with, or they are so subrized, what we call it as, means they are deposited, the walls of those cells are deposited with the help of the suberin material, right? Suberin material they uncovers with, right? And hence they become impermeable in nature. They do not allow any water material to pass out through the cell wall, right? So that kind of subrized cells they become. So that what happens, they do not allow the entered water to pass through the cell wall of these endodermal cells, right? So that is also very important. The cell walls of endodermis in dicot and monocot roots does not allow the water to pass through, right? Pass through. And same case in epidermis, the cutin makes the cuticle on epidermis does not help for more transpiration. It avoids transpiration, right? Cuticle avoids here. Why? Because of cutin material. And so here in case of dicots and monocot root, so does not, endodermis does not allow the water to pass through. So hence these two types of cells become impermeable to water or some other materials over here. So this is also one more function of what? Cell wall. And one more thing is the cellulose material, hemicellulose material, right? Pectin material, all these are commercially very important one, you know, and hence, right? So these are xylophysals are very important one. Here the cell wall is the major aspect that forms the xylophysaal system, right? So that's why the cell wall components like cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin are commercially very important. So these are some of the functions of the cell wall, right? So already we came to know the boundaries of animal cell as well as plant cell, right? So cell membrane is common for both the cells. Cell wall is present only in case of plant cells, right? So let us discuss all other cell organelles that are present in the cell itself, right? So let us start with all those cell organelles in eukaryotic cell. Why? Because many membrane bound cell organelles are present in case of the eukaryotic cell. Those cell organelles will discuss thoroughly, so one by one, right? Now it's the cell organelles. Let us start with the cell organelles. So you know there are many membrane bound cell organelles. There are many membrane bound cell organelles in eukaryotic cells. In eukaryotic cells, in the sense that, so both in plant cell as well as animal cell. And some of the membrane bound cell organelles are, so they are interconnected among themselves. So they may be functionally, structurally like this. So they are interconnected among themselves, right? And those together are membrane bound one. Hence they are responsible for the formation of the endomembrane system, right? What they are responsible for the endomembrane system. They form the endomembrane system. Some cell organelles in cells form the endomembrane system. Since they are all interconnected, so both structurally as well as functionally. So they form endomembrane system. Say for example, let us see. Endoplasmic reticulum is there. Golgi complex is there. Along with this one, lysosomes are there. Lysosomes as well as what? Lysosomes as well as the vesicles. Vesicles. Or these are also known as what? The not vesicles. It is vacuoles and vacuoles. All these together form the endomembrane system. But the same cell organelles not at all interconnected with other cell organelles like mitochondria, chloroplast, so microbodies or some other cell organelles. So they do not involve in any functions interconnected with these one. Hence they do not form any endomembrane system over here. So those are others are mitochondria, chloroplast, all other cell organelles we consider. Right? Let us start with the endomembrane system first. Means endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, lysosomes, vacuoles. So first of all, we will complete these cell organelles, and later we go to the next cell organelles. Okay. Let's start with the endoplasmic reticulum first, right? So endoplasmic reticulum itself is one of the cell organelles, right? Which was first discovered by Porter, Claude, as well as Fulman. Are the scientists the one who discovered this one for the first time? And Porter named it as present in some of the metabolically active cells, right? So let us see the occurrence of these cells, cell organelle, that is, these are occurring in some cell organelles some cells like plasma cells, liver cells, and secretory cells like pancreatic cells, etc. Okay, so these are some of the cells which are occurring in such kind of cells. So these are metabolically active cells. These are all metabolically active cells. Metabolically active cells, these are all, right? So such kind of cell, these are usually occurring in. But these are absent in some of the cells. Some cells like early embryonic cells, and RBCs, red blood corpuscles. They are absent in embryonic cells, and they are poorly developed in spermatocytes. Spermatocytes are those cells which are going to become sperms. In those sperm cells, spermatocytes, so these cells contain poorly developed endoplasmic reticulum itself, right? So that is a very important one. So in which cell they are absent, in which cell they are present, we came to know it. Let us start with the structure of endoplasmic reticulum. How is this structure of endoplasmic reticulum? Right? It is nothing but membranous, a network of membranous tubular structures that extend from the nuclear membrane up to the plasma membrane. Right? Such kind of interconnected tubular membranous structure network is called as what? Endoplasmic reticulum. It is a network of membranous, right? It is a network of membranous tubular structure that extend from nuclear membrane up to the plasma membrane. See here, if it is a cell, then it is a nucleus. From the nuclear membrane, you can observe here. I shall draw the diagram a little larger enough. So directly I shall draw the diagram of nucleus, so that you will come to know this is the nucleus. So that contains a nuclear membrane like this. It is double membrane structure, right? This is double membrane structure. So from which it is interconnected. See here. So this is interconnected tubular so it is interconnected over here. So like this, interconnected tubular structure is a network of interconnected tubular structure. So it extends from the nuclear membrane up to the plasma membrane. Suppose this is the plasma membrane, it fuses with the plasma membrane sometimes, right? So that kind of tubular network itself is said to be as endoplasmic reticulum. And structurally it has three kinds of structures or the components. Three components are, one is cisternine, and second one is tubules, and third one is vesicles. Like this, there are three kinds of structures that we come across over here. Okay. So this is cisternine, tubules as well as vesicles are the three structures that we come across over here itself, right? So what are these cisternains? How they are? So what are these tubules as well as vesicles? Let us see here. So this is one cisternine. There are some tubules that we come across, as well as rounded vesicles that we come across over here, right? So like the cisternine, tubules as well as vesicles. Cisternains they are elongated circular structures. These are first one, cisternine. All these network of tubular structure, so they are about 400 angstrom to 700 angstroms in thickness or in diameter. Alright? So in diameter, this endoplasmic reticulum is measuring about 400 to 700 angstroms. That much of thick or diameter is. So this endoplasmic reticulum is, right? That contains cisternae, that contains tubules as well as the vesicles. So first of all, we will go to the cisternae first. So these are 8 to 10 in number. These are 8 to 10 in number, and these are flattened sac-like structures. These are flattened sac-like structures, and these are filled with a fluid. These are filled with a fluid. That fluid may be enzymes or some other things, right? So they are filled with a fluid. And one more thing in these endoplasmic reticulum. So this endoplasmic reticulum is divided over here into two compartments. So are two parts itself entire. So I am not concentrating over here in cisternine. So one is so the tubular network like structure what we come across, that tubular structure that contains many internal lumen within themselves, and that luminal part it is called as, what it is called as luminal part. This lumen what we have, so it is luminal. Outside this lumen or the tubular structure, outside this lumen, so this cytoplasmic area in which these lumens are embedded or the tubular structures are embedded, that cytoplasmic area itself is called as non-luminal in nature, right? Non-luminal. So that's why endoplasmic reticulum itself has two major parts. One is called as luminal part and non-luminal part. It is cytoplasmic area, so which surround the endoplasmic reticulum. That's all, right? So there is no confusion at all. So come back to the cisternae part. Cisternae, these are 8 to 10 in number, and these are are flattened sac-like structures, and these are filled with a kind of fluid. Right? They are called as what? Cisternae. One. Right? So, and the next one is tubules. What are these tubules? These are tubular structures that are interconnected with the cisternae. These are tubular structures that are interconnected or so connected with the what? So the cisternae. Right? So these are tubules, and next one is vesicles. What these vesicles are? Already you are seeing over here. There is a sac-like oval shaped or spherical shaped sac-like structure. What you come across? They are nothing but vesicles. So these are lying in the cytoplasmic area near the endoplasmic reticulum. So which are formed or interconnected with the endoplasmic reticulum, and later they are going to form the lysosomes sometimes, right? So they are vesicles. These are oval or spherical structures which are lying near the cisternae and tubules, and they are interconnected. When they detach from this endoplasmic reticulum, they are filled with the fluid that is digestive enzymes it contains, and it becomes later what? Lysosome itself, right? So that is nothing but cisternae, tubules as well as vesicles are the three structures that we come across here. And the thickness of the membrane in this one. The thickness of the membrane, already we know 75 angstrom units, the thickness of the membrane in case of plasma membrane. The same way, so this is 40 angstrom units to 60 angstrom units, right? Its thickness means their thickness is a little less than the thickness of the plasma membrane. These are also nothing but, these are also the plasma membranes, but their thickness is less, and they surround only the cell organelles, not the entire cell itself. So that is the difference what you should come across. And these are richly occupied with the lipids as well as proteins. So these are means membranes are rich in lipids as well as proteins. These are rich in lipids as well as proteins. Of course, these are the two major components of plasma membrane. They are the same membranal components are present in these membranes also, right? So now we can know. So this endoplasmic reticulum is nothing but a network of tubular flattened structure, and they contain three components. One is cisternae, vesicles as well as the tubules itself, what these structures are, how the membrane is, all these are the things that we come to know. And the next one is the same endoplasmic reticulum itself is divided into two types. So based on the attachment of the ribosomes on its outer surface or not, based on this it is been classified into two types. What are those two types? Let us see now. Let us see now. See here, this is also the endoplasmic reticulum. So it is interconnected tubular structure along with the vesicles, tubules, etc. All these are present over here. And this endoplasmic reticulum, on which there are some spherical or oval shaped structures that are attached on the outer membrane or outer surface, and they are nothing but the ribosomes. What these are? The ribosomes. right? These ribosomes are attached on the outer surface of this endoplasmic reticulum, that is nothing but rough endoplasmic reticulum it is called as. Why? Because it makes the rough surface, right? So that's why rough endoplasmic reticulum is one type of rough endoplasmic reticulum is one type of endoplasmic reticulum, right? What is a rough endoplasmic reticulum? Endoplasmic reticulum, endoplasmic reticulum has the outer surface or the outer membrane, you may say, outer surface bounded with the ribosomes. If the endoplasmic reticulum on the outer surface, if it is bounded with the ribosomes, then that kind of the endoplasmic reticulum is known as what? So rough endoplasmic reticulum. This is RER. Sometimes another type of endoplasmic reticulum is also there. See here, this is also another type of endoplasmic reticulum. What you are observing over here, and it has also the interconnected tubular structures. What it has. Okay, so this is also one more endoplasmic reticulum, and this endoplasmic reticulum doesn't have any ribosomes attached on the outer surface. Hence, this kind of endoplasmic reticulum is called a smooth endoplasmic reticulum. It is known as what it is known as smooth endoplasmic reticulum, right? So the endoplasmic reticulum has the outer surface not bounded with any ribosomes. Then it is called as smooth endoplasmic reticulum. It is called as, right? So based on the attachment of these ribosomes on the outer surface of endoplasmic reticulum, so whether they are attached, then it is called as RER, rough endoplasmic reticulum. Not attached, then SER, that is smooth endoplasmic reticulum. There are two types of endoplasmic reticulum that we come across over here. And so if this is the tubular structure to which the ribosome is attached, so these ribosomes are attached with the help of proteins. What kind of those proteins? They help in attachment of these ribosomes to the endoplasmic reticulum, their outer surface itself. There are some proteins responsible, that is ribofourin 1 and ribofourin 2 are the two types of what? The proteins responsible for the attachment of these ribosomes to the outer surface of this tubular structure, that is endoplasmic reticulum over here. So these ribofourin 1 and 2 are responsible over here, and these are also called as signal recognizing proteins. SRPA and SRPB are the two types of the proteins responsible for the attachment of these ribosomes to the outer membrane of the endoplasmic reticulum. Right? So these are the type of proteins, very important one. Remember for the concentration need examination. Next one. So there are two types of, one is RER and another one is SER. So these are the two types that we come across out here. Apart from this one, so SCR we came to know, right? And now we shall start with the functions of endoplasmic reticulum. Very important function it does itself, right? Since these ribosomes are attached to the outer surface of the membrane of these endoplasmic reticulum, so these help in protein synthesis. Hence, this endoplasmic reticulum also plays important role in or during the synthesis of protein system. It also involves in the protein synthesis, right? So that is the one kind of function it does. So let us see all those functions very systematically one by one now. First one, it provides surface for the attachment of ribosomes that helps in protein synthesis. Is the first function of this endoplasmic reticulum. And whenever you see this endoplasmic reticulum that is spread from the nuclear membrane up to the plasma membrane, so what it shows is it acts as an endoskeletal system of the cell and it gives mechanical support to the cell itself, right? It forms endoskeletal system of cell and gives mechanical support to the cell. This is the second function of this endoplasmic reticulum. And simultaneously, whenever you see this endoplasmic reticulum, it acts as the intracellular transportation. It helps in the transportation of many materials across the cell. Why? Because these are internally connected tubules through which many number of the fluids that are circulated across the cell over here. Hence, it is said as intracellular. Intra in the sense that within the cell. Intracellular transport system. It acts as intracellular transport system. It acts as the intracellular transport system. And this endoplasmic reticulum would help in performing many of the metabolic activities, right? So it helps in performing many metabolic activities. It helps in performing many metabolic activities and enzymes present in SER. Remember SER, smooth endoplasmic reticulum. On its outer surface there is no ribosomes attached, right? So that is smooth endoplasmic reticulum has some of the enzymes. They help in detoxification, means they remove the toxic materials. Detoxification of some of the pollutants, some of the insecticides or some other toxic substances. That is also one more function of this SER particularly. We can enzymes present in SER helps in detoxification. Detoxification means the toxic materials detoxified. So they do not become toxic materials. Detoxification of some of the pollutants, insecticides. Insecticides, you know, they help in killing the insects. Insecticides, some of the pollutants, right? Some of the toxins like drugs, etc. So it is also one more function of what? Endoplasmic reticulum. And next one. So it provides the membrane for the formation of the cell membrane as well as the membranes of cell organelles. Especially it provides membranes to the membranes of the cell organelles. It provides membranes for the formation of membranes around the membrane bound cell organelles. Many are there, mitochondria is there, Golgi complex is there, all such kinds of membrane bound cell organelles. It provides what? It provides the membrane, right? So this is also more important. During cell division, it helps in formation of nuclear membrane even. It also helps in formation of nuclear membrane. Also, right? So these are some of the functions, and some more functions are there. Let us see now. Yes, next one is 7. See here. So SER helps in synthesis of some of the fats over here or the lipids over here, like cholesterol, right? Very important one. Phospholipids that form the what? Cell membrane itself, and such kinds of fats are the lipids which are synthesized in SER itself, right? So this is also more important function over here. So SER has some of the enzymes that help in synthesis of the fats like cholesterol, phospholipids, and even some of the steroidal hormones in ovary as well as testes. Progesterone, all these are the steroidal hormones which are synthesized in ovary as well as testes, right? So this is the major function of SER. And SER also help in some other functions, like it contains glucose 6-phosphate, which help in breakdown as well as formation of the glycogen itself, right? That is also very important. SER contains glucose 6-phosphate. So in future you are going to learn or hear about this one, glucose 6-phosphate, that helps in breakdown and formation of so the glycogen. In which type of cell it is taking place? In liver cells. Where it takes place? In liver cells. This is also one more function. And very important one here, muscles. What it is called as muscles? Already I have told you whenever we were discussing different types of muscles, cardiac muscles, skeletal muscles, smooth muscles, like this. In muscles, it is called as sarcoplasmic reticulum. It is called as sarcoplasmic reticulum. This helps in storage of calcium ions. Sorry. When calcium is released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum, that moment, so whenever it is released, so where the contraction of muscles would take place during the release of calcium. When calcium is released, contraction of muscles that take place over here. So these are some important features of this endoplasmic reticulum, right? So this is all about the endoplasmic reticulum. It is the first cell organelle what we discussed now. In the next video, we will discuss thoroughly the next endomembrane systems, so components, that is next cell organelle, that is Golgi complex, in the next video. Thank you.